Greetings and welcome, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, to episode 327 of the Words About Games podcast, the weekly news, culture, and gaming podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy K. Alexander, and I'm joined by Deaf Moody.
The entrances for me are getting weirder and weirder. It's like you can't decide which one, and you think of one while off podcast, and then I remember this, and then you don't, do you? Yeah.
What happens is, I used to be able in your old setup, you know, in your old room, I used to be able to see your t-shirt, so I always used to reference your t-shirt. Whereas now all I can see is your microphone.
I'm the best in the world.
The best in the world. See, if I you see, what we need to do is, before we start recording, from now on...
Just tell me to lower the table. I can just do that. That's easy.
Or you could just lower the table.
That shook everything.
Yeah, that was very violent.
Yeah. What's wrong with you? Don't die on me now.
No, what we need to do is, like, you just, before we start every podcast, you just need to stand up so I can see your t-shirt. Mm-hmm. Because I was tidying up last night because I have ADHD. I was doing it at like midnight because that's how it works.
That's how it works.
And first, because I don't know what I was doing. Oh yeah, I made a spreadsheet of all the indie games of the week. So I gone through all the podcasts, like, because it's all in the descriptions, and I was just like putting all the info in. And then obviously I got all the way back to the beginning of 2022 because this is when we started doing it, right? And then I just started watching our Game of the Year podcast. And I was like, you know what? I need some I always need something on in the background while I'm just doing shit, right? So I was tidying up and I was just listening to us do our Game of the Year podcast. At the beginning of the year. We were much happier people.
Were we?
When all we had to talk about was like awesome games, yeah.
I don't know. Was I? I don't know. I think I might have been faking because it was obviously just the year. It was obviously the year of around the year of my father's passing and everything. So I'm like, I don't know. So I might have been faking that episode.
it was, but it was also the end of the month because we did Game of the Year and we at a weird time.
Yeah.
Even in the podcast, we both said we're not doing this again next year because we were like, we're gonna have so much time to catch up on games, and then in the intro, we were both just like, we didn't do that though. Like neither of us did that. Played like one or two games, and then we're just like, hey, whatever.
My model's just like, I miss it. If I ever get to it, I'll get to it. But it's fucking hard when you work in the industry and you fucking it's too many. When you play all day and you're just like, I need these to rest. Like, damn, man. I'm thinking of getting a massager just for my hand.
Do it. You should do it. That didn't look like you were massaging, though. I didn't look relaxing.
Oh, don't stop.
You should definitely do that. But no, it was fun. Like, we're listening to you talking about, like, you know, Life is Strange and all the cool games that you played.
Yeah.
It was actually fun to listen to, like, because it was like 10 months ago.
Yeah, give or take with the date we're on now. Yeah. So yeah.
And you were wearing to bring this all the way back around to what I wrote in the doc. You were wearing the 3-star champ top. That's why I called you the 3-star champ in the doc. But then you weren't wearing the 3-star champ t-shirt. Mm-hmm. But you're the best in the world, which is, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they're synonyms.
True.
How you doing, Moody? You good?
Yeah, I'm not bad at all. I'm not bad. Weird week. Like I was away for the Monday for a family thing, and then I came back, and it was just a weird. It's been a weird week. It's just been a weird week. Technically, I've only been at work twice this week. I've only been Wednesday and Thursday. I wasn't in today because I had to put my car in. Car's fine. An interesting test, but it was fine. Thankfully. But no, yeah, like, it's hard to describe. It's just like to not get fully into it on a podcast. No offense to listeners, you don't want to hear about my miserable life. So, yeah, it's been a weird one. It's been a weird one. I'll say that. How's your week been?
Been a weird one. I continue.
Just a weird week for everybody.
I described it to Vits when we were DMing as like,
oh, your new BFF, huh?
Yeah, my new BFF.
Who you like bitching about me about last week, huh?
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Was that to me or to Vits?
Obvious. I
Um,
know you listen, mate. I know you listen.
I do like the fact that he joined in. He's never met you before, but I love the fact that he joined in. He just rolls with anything. But no, I was telling him it was like whatever I've got, like sickness wise, it's like a roguelike where it's like every couple of days, like the randomizer kicks in and one symptom just gets replaced with another one.
Yeah, it's a weird one. Like when I heard you were still ill, when I saw you said you were still ill, I was thinking, what?
Yeah, like because we did the podcast and I was like, this is like I'm at the apex now. That's what I thought. I'm at the apex. I was fucked. People were telling me about that podcast. They actually enjoyed it. Because I just lost my mind, especially at the end. But then like I got to the next week's podcast and like my throat hadn't improved, right? Like I still had insomnia and all this other stuff. And I was just like, what the fuck's going on? And then I think I even tweeted it on like Tuesday or Wednesday, like this week, where I was just like, why am I still sick? This is when like my voice, I was losing my voice and I was losing my hearing in my left ear. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? It's been 2 weeks. 2 solid weeks of being sick. Like, and what the fuck is happening with my Nintendo? Like, I feel like I can see it flickering out the corner of my eye.
Doesn't look like it's flickering.
I'm on EU ? Box. Maybe this is just the new symptom I've unlocked for the day.
Yeah, just flickering
my eyes are just gone now. It's like, all right, yeah, thanks. But no, I'm getting there. Like, I haven't edited. Like, remember when I was like, oh, I'm gonna get the Sonic 2 video out in October? I definitely would have done that. Like Friday, October 26th. That was the 28th. That was the date I had in mind. I was like, I'm gonna get it done by then, and I'm gonna have it out.
No,
I've barely been able to summon the energy to play video games, Moody.
Tell me about it.
So, like, I mean, I have, but
I know you have, yeah.
But
we're talking about.
We're gonna be talking about one specific, which I just finished.
Was it?
1 hour and 50 minutes ago.
How was the squeakiness?
Squeak.
We won't get into that yet. I have a question actually for you. It's about something that came out last Sunday. I don't know if you've watched it. What are your thoughts on the finale of Doctor Who?
Oh, did you notice my t-shirt I'm wearing?
Yes, I noticed.
Yes,
your
that's why I'm wearing my t-shirt.
I know you are a massive fan of.
I'm a massive fan of
Doctor.
Of Jodie. I think she is a phenomenal Doctor. Like most of the Doctors in modern Doctor Who, like badly let down by a lot of the writing. Like, like, was I a fan of Chris Chibnall's Doctor Who in parts? Like, there's some stuff that he did really well. Like, I hope we get to keep the cinematography and the direction of the last few seasons, because every episode has looked like a movie. Like, and it looks beautiful. Whereas, like, obviously, like, the older stuff looked a bit cheesy, which, you know, it was a low-budget BBC kids show. So, I'm not knocking it for that. But I have enjoyed that direction. But, no, like, it's one of those things where it's like, I need the time to, like, get over the fact that Jodie's not going to be the Doctor anymore, because I really enjoyed her as the Doctor. It was the same thing when Matt Smith left. And it was the same thing when David Tennant left. It was like, I need time to get over this, right? Capaldi, not so much, because I was super excited about what was happening with the Doctor. Even though he was fantastic as well. But, like, I don't know if it helps with what happened at the very end of the episode. The episode was fucking nonsense. Like, I enjoyed it, like, for what it was, and, like, it had some great moments in it, but, like, if you sit down and think about what happened in that episode for 5 seconds, you're like, that didn't make any sense.
It did, none of it made sense whatsoever. And I'm not going to lie, it sounds like that's just indicative to Jodie Whittaker's time as Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Just a lot of the storylines were just like, Wait, what?
You get some
What?
awesome like individual episodes, like the Rosa Parks episode, or the episode in the Punjab, the Demons of Punjab, I think it was called. Like there's some really, really good individual episodes. But like then Chibnall would be like, right, now we're gonna do the story arc, and it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, and I felt so bad for like Jodie Whittaker and John Bishop.
The whole team.
John Bishop jumps in and when Flux the miniseries was on, and like he was fantastic. Flux was terrible, but like he was great. And you just feel sorry for them at a certain point where it's just like, man, you guys are killing it, but this is fucking bad.
yeah. Like I love the references, like when you saw the old Doctors and everything like that. Sorry, I'm just gonna say we're gonna talk. We're gonna
talk about Doctor Who. We're gonna spoil Doctor Who.
It's been out for a week, people. If you haven't watched the TV show, if you haven't watched it yet, you're probably not gonna watch it.
If you haven't already been spoiled on the ending, like I don't know how you've managed to do that. Like,
respect to you if you have. You're probably not on the internet.
I mean, you're gonna get spoiled.
Or at least not on social media.
In like 3 or 4 minutes, you're gonna get spoiled at the end anyway. Might want to use those timestamps. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. But no, it was a convoluted mess. It really was.
Yeah. If you actually think about the Master's plan, like, and like
what?
The guy who plays the Master, again, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Yeah,
fucking loved him when he did the rah Rasputin bit, and you got the Dalek and the Cyberman, and they're just looking at each other, and it's just like this is the peak Doctor Who, and it's just such a shame that it's fucking nonsense.
yeah. So I thought, So the ending, So
to the ending,
let's get to the ending. So David Tennant has returned, and they are literally saying he is the 14th Doctor. So he's not only the 10th, he is the 14th Doctor.
Yeah.
And then the new Doctor who will come in later next year is going to be dubbed the 15th.
Yeah.
I'm going to be fascinated how Moffat gets around this and how he explains this type of thing.
It's Rusty Davis is coming back. It's not Moffat.
I thought it was Moffat.
Nah. Rusty Davis.
Okay.
Yeah.
My apologies. Yeah, I know the guy who brought it back.
Yeah.
I always thought that was Moffat. My apologies.
No, he did some of the best episodes in that era.
That's funny. Funny. So David's coming back. So I'm very interested to see how he's going to explain this, because like going off from like Jodie's era, like they convoluted a lot of the Doctor's backstory, I've been told. I haven't really watched it and everything, but I'm just going off like I've been told. I'm just like, so how the hell are they going to explain an old Doctor coming back as a new Doctor where he's the 10th and he's the 14th? And I'm just like, my brain's just going all over the place. But the surprise was amazing. Everyone's talking about it. Doctor Who, I don't think's been really, I don't mean in a nasty way towards Jodie or anything like that, but I don't think it's been really relevant for a while. No, it's all in everything, and it's now been talked about like crazy. And now you throw in with the new Disney deal they've just signed, where it's going on where it's going to be going on everywhere else. Obviously, still on the BBC and everything, but they're part of the production as well. They're throwing money into this,
which is why I hope that they keep the style,
the cinematographers.
Somewhat.
Yeah. So I'm very interested, like with all of that happening. Disney now getting involved, putting money into it. Apparently not getting involved with the creative or anything like that. Just saying, money, give us the rights type of thing on our show. Let us stream it. But I'm very interested. But David Tennant, I love David Tennant. Like when he was regenerated the first time. Now
you have to make that clarification now.
Yeah,
the first time David Tennant turned up.
Like when he literally says, "I don't want to go," you're just like your heart breaks. But I love so much that regeneration because it gives me my favorite Doctor. I love Matt Smith. If you haven't seen House of Dragon yet, ladies and gentlemen, fucking watch it just for him. You will love him for it. Sure. Just because he's amazing he's amazing in everything he touches, basically. Yeah, even though I've heard he's amazing in Morbius, even though that film apparently is complete trash.
Morbin time.
But no, I'm very fascinated to see. So I've been talking now. So go on. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I don't know. Like, so it doesn't help the processing of like, oh, Jodie's gone, right? And normally I can process it by going, I'm looking forward to seeing what the next person brings.
Yeah.
But I know what the next person is. David Tennant. I don't. And basically,
your favorite companion's coming back as well.
Yeah, and my favorite David Tennant companion is coming back. Like, so I'm having trouble processing. Like, I'm having trouble like figuring out how I move forward, especially considering like the next episode is like 13 months from now.
Yeah,
but the fact that
he's
we're getting
apparently shot a part of it. I think,
yeah, because there were pictures of them shooting it because everyone assumed David Tennant was going to be in like an episode, right?
Yeah,
and then
like
it's
they already announced he was coming back.
Yeah, because they announced him and
60th
Donna
anniversary.
But it's like they're doing three episodes leading into the 60th anniversary. So Tennant as the 14th Doctor is going to be in 3 episodes. And I did watch the teaser trailer that they put out. It was like 10, 15, whatever it was. I'm excited that Neil Patrick Harris looks like he's playing the villain for at least one of these episodes.
Yeah,
I like the idea of David Tennant versus Neil Patrick Harris in an episode of Doctor Who.
I'm interested to see what Patrick Harris we get here.
We're gonna get Doctor Horrible like energy. We're gonna get like proper high camp. Just from what I've seen of him in like 2 seconds of a video, I'm just he looks like he's gonna be camping it up. But like Neil Patrick Harris can do like sinister, like undertones.
Oh yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But no, that's my thoughts are I don't know how to process this right now. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I am excited to see what's going to happen and everything like that. I'm excited to see what they're able to do with that. Basically, let's just be frank, they get that extra money. That extra money, what they're going to get from Disney, is going to help loads. Hopefully, I think it'll sharpen up the visual effects a lot more. I've always been a little bit, but I can also appreciate because it's a TV show. I could always get past that.
It's like a low budget BBC TV show.
Yeah,
I will say
but
that
now you're coming into it, but then you see things like House of Dragon and Rings of Power. Yeah, I know the budget they threw into that.
They have massive
like $1 billion,
budget,
like $1 billion for each show and everything like that. And you just go, that's fucking amazing. So I'm intrigued, but I'm just from the glimpse you see from the 15th, I'm gonna have to get a head around.
Can someone tell me what the hell is going on? Yeah,
I was just like, why aren't you here now? Why have I not got you out? I love Tennant, but I'm also like, I wanted the new Doctor.
Yeah.
I wanted him. I wanted to see the brand new Doctor, not David Tennant. I don't mind David Tennant. I love David Tennant. Anything he's been in, I've absolutely adored because I think he's one of the most underappreciated fucking actors out there. But at least the rest of the world, I think in America, I think he's underappreciated. Over here, obviously, he's adored and loved and everything. But, But we'll see what happens.
He is the most. He is probably the most popular Doctor.
Yes, I think that's unequivocally. I may love Matt Smith and everything like that, but David Tennant is unequivocally.
And I love his seasons. Like his seasons, like if you divorce like the performance of the Doctor from like just what the seasons are like, his seasons are probably my favorite ones. It just
I think that's fair.
I have preferences for like other Doctors.
Dodgy episodes. Not dodgy episodes, just poorly written episodes.
Yeah, like Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi, Jodie Whittaker. They all like. They were all undone a little bit by having a lot of dodgy stuff happen.
Yeah,
in the episodes.
But for Matt Smith's, I think they always righted themselves with the finale. For me personally,
so the one where he's on like the Christmas planet, and he gets I don't know. It's been a long time since I've watched Matt Smith's Doctor. Maybe it's actually binge it all.
You just did that, didn't you? Like last year or the year before that?
No, I didn't get very far.
You didn't get very far, did you? Okay.
I didn't get that far. What I did was I was gonna because I
didn't you watch Eccleston and
Tennant? I watched some of Eccleston and some of Tennant.
Yeah.
I was gonna binge watch the whole thing because I hadn't seen Jodie Whittaker's second season. And it was and the Flux miniseries was coming out. So I was like, I want to catch up, but why don't I just catch up like with everything? And then I watched a little bit of Matt Smith, and I was like, I love you, Matt, but I'm not sitting through. How many seasons was it of Moffat? 6
for Smith.
For Smith and Capaldi, it was like.
Oh, Smith and Capaldi.
Yeah.
6 seasons, 3 seasons each.
Yeah, I think they had 3 seasons each, plus specials and stuff. And I was just like, I can't. So I just skipped ahead. Maybe it's time to go back. Maybe I'll do like a live tweeting like massive thread of just Amy watches Doctor Who from Christopher Eccleston's first season.
I think Matt Smith's opening episode is one of the best episodes.
I liked Matt Smith's first season.
Yeah.
The problem I have with the Stephen Moffat series, like if you like take it as like 6 seasons, is it gets more and more convoluted and messy and just bad as it goes on. Like it starts off really strong, and like I like the whole plot line with like the cracks in the timeline, the cracks in time, and like the TARDIS exploding and stuff. But then like it keeps trying to build on top of itself, and it never really feels like it's going anywhere because every reveal is just but now something else. You know what I mean? There's never any real kind of conclusion to the thing you're watching. It's just it rolls into the next thing and into the next thing and into the next thing, and it gets hard to follow. Phil did start watching Doctor Who though.
Phil starts watching a lot of things, and he just finishes it.
I knew he wasn't going to make it because, like, I remember the first episode. Like, Eccleston has some great episodes.
Yeah.
But the
Dalek episode's one of the best
Dalek
ones,
episodes is one of the best episodes of New Doctor Who altogether. But what I was remembering was there's the first episode, which is okay, and then there's like the episode with where they go back to Charles Dickens and the ghosts in the lamps, and then I was like, that's not too great either. And then it was like, and then there's a 2-parter with farting aliens. And I was like, Phil's never going to make it past that 2-parter. Like, and the Dalek episode is the next one after that. So the great episode is right there. And I kept saying to him, just skip it, mate. Just skip it. Trust me, you're not going to miss anything.
Yeah, you won't.
But he's like, no, I've got to watch it all. And I was like, well, you're not going to get through that. You're not going to get through those episodes. So we're done here. Like, oh well. The next episode is one of the best ones. And then there's that 2-parter with the kid, the gas mask. Oh, it's good.
Yep.
But anyway, I digress. This isn't a Doctor Who podcast, but it was nice to get that off my chest. Thank you for noticing my t-shirt. I wore it specially. It was, in fact, this episode is going to go out on Halloween. So 1 year ago, to the day, we recorded this podcast, and I was dressed as Jodie Whittaker's Doctor.
You were dressed?
Yeah, I was dressed as Jodie Whittaker's Doctor.
Do I remember that?
Probably not. You don't remember anything. But yeah, no.
That's true.
Because Joe was going to be here, and that was the first time I was going to meet him. He was Vampire Waluigi, but then he couldn't turn up because he was sick, and we did it later when he wasn't dressed as Vampire Waluigi, and I was dressed as the Doctor. I had the suspenders and the t-shirt and everything.
And not me, because I'm an old man. I wouldn't have dressed as anything.
No, you dressed as...
Me.
Moody.
Dressed as Moody.
This is the Words About Games podcast. Every Monday, you get a video version of the show at youtube.com/wordsaboutgamesuk or an audio version on a variety of platforms, including Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and more. There are timestamps in the description below, so you can do that and skip around. If you don't want to hear about Doctor Who, too late now. But... if you already knew they were there, they might have saved you from that. If you'd like to support the show or our content directly, you can head over to coffee.com/wordsaboutgames. Lastly, if you want to hang out with us while we play some games, if I ever feel healthy enough ever again to stream, you can hang out with us at twitch.tv/wordsaboutgames. At this point, I feel like even saying, I'm going to get back to streaming is just going to curse me. So I'm trying not to acknowledge it.
The cursed timeline right now for you, Amy.
If I was like, I'm gonna get the Dishonored 2 video out by X amount of time, I can guarantee you I'm gonna get sick again. Or I'm gonna get hit by a car, or a plane is gonna crash into my house. You know what I mean? Like something's gonna stop me.
There she is! Dive! She just said bad things about Stadia. She may be right because it's dead now, but I don't care.
This is all her fault.
Yes. Amy,
is that a blimp with a Google logo on the side of it? And then the video just cuts out.
Amy, let's get to the main stories by warping us there.
Warp me. I haven't watched that yet. I need to watch that tonight. I was busy playing a video game that you wanted me to play before. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I said to play it. You, the one, then decided I will have this done by the episode when you return.
We'll talk about it. There's a whole story behind. There's a whole story behind why I even sat down to play it. But yeah, the main story is actually 3 stories that form one story.
It's Microsoft.
It's all about Xbox. But we'll talk about the first story is from Steam to Till over Axios, which kind of encompasses a lot of stuff in like one story. I don't know how I feel about the framing of the headline, but we'll get into all the Xbox stuff. Microsoft misses Xbox Game Pass subscriber target for second year. This is Stephen Totillo over at Axios, who writes, subscriber growth for Microsoft's all-you-can-play Game Pass subscription service fell far short of an annual company target tied to CEO Satya Nadella's pay, according to a new financial filing. The strength of Game Pass has long been used to measure Microsoft's success in disrupting the gaming industry. It's also become central to discussions about whether regulators should approve the company's $69 billion bid for Call of Duty maker Activision Blizzard. Microsoft targeted a 73% growth rate for Game Pass for its fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022, as part of performance incentives for Nadella and other top executives, but the service only achieved 28% growth. That's 2 misses in a row. The company also failed to hit the executive pay Game Pass target last year after exceeding it in 2020. Microsoft doesn't publicize actual Game Pass subscriber target counts, but it said in the filing that its Xbox division has delivered, quote, over 25 million Game Pass subscriptions, end quote. In an interview at a Wall Street Journal tech conference, Microsoft's head of gaming, Phil Spencer, framed Game Pass as profitable but limited. It accounts for 10 to 15% of the company's content and services revenue, which includes gaming, and is, quote, profitable for us, end quote. In remarks transcribed by The Verge, Spencer said Game Pass growth was incredible on PC, but it slowed down on console, quote, mainly because at some point you've reached everybody on console that wants to subscribe, end quote. The UK's Competition and Markets Authority has cited Game Pass as a point of concern regarding whether it'll approve Microsoft's Activision deal. In a 76-page initial report, it said the deal gives rise to, quote, a realistic prospect of a substantial lessening of competition in multi-game subscription services, end quote. I have some things to say about that. Should Microsoft put Call of Duty on Game Pass? The idea is that offering the popular series, which often accounts for any given year's best or second best selling game, could make Game Pass irresistible and Microsoft problematically unstoppable. Microsoft has denied such a move would reach an anti-competitive threshold requiring the blockage of the deal, saying PlayStation could always counter by putting better exclusives on its service. Oof. Or even offer Game Pass on PlayStation. CMA rejection could kill the bid, though its final decision isn't expected until next year. So there's a lot of different things to unpack in that story.
A lot to unpack there. Let's just get straight to the main one from the title itself. Like Xbox not hitting its target for the second year. I think I have to say this to all the companies out there who say we've missed our target because remember in 2020 we hit a massive target. Do you remember 2020? None of us were doing anything. So no wonder everyone subscribed to Game Pass and other things and everything. So I'm not surprised you haven't hit it for the second year in a row because the industry is leveling out for its profitability, what it hit in 2020. We all know this. You cannot be that complete clueless or anything like that. So, but when you think about like them saying they expected to hit a 37% growth and only got 28%,
73%,
and they only have 25 million subscribers right now on Game Pass, and I'm just like 73%. So you were expecting around to have 40 to 50 million subscribers by now? I'm crap at maths, so I could be way off when it comes to the percentages there and everything. But damn, if that is true and everything and whatnot. Sure. But either way, Game Pass, we've screamed of how great Game Pass is. Game Pass is one of the best, if not best, thing out there right now for just how easy it is for you to be able to play as many different types of games that you could truly want and everything. So it's amazing. Is it disappointing? No, because at the end of the day, you were still profitable, you bastards, on this thing. Even though it's just 10 to 15% for you, you were still profitable. When it comes to the other things and everything like that, like the regulatory thing when it comes to the Activision Blizzard dealership and whatnot. I'm like
Well,
I said
let's
already, I'm sick of talking about it. And whatnot.
well, hang on, pump the brakes here. Let me jump in on the Game Pass thing before we change topics.
Like separated them more then.
It's one news story. You really do. I'm not an editor. I'm not Stephen Totilla's editor, man. Like,
just saying.
Or you're just here's 12 different articles from different websites. Like, no, like I appreciate that Axios doesn't do that. Not like when you try and find a friggin' roundup of here's everything at the Game Awards, and certain websites will have 40 different stories for every single different one.
What's your opinion on the Game Pass?
No, like I mean, my opinion on Game Pass is great. My opinion on their target is what the fuck?
Yeah,
yes, 73%. You fucking who was smoking what? When he came up with 73% as your target for like Game Pass growth. That's nuts. That's ridiculous. Like, I know the maths that you just did there is probably not like, spot on or anything. It's better than what I could do, but like, you haven't even sold that many Xboxes.
Yeah, that's actually, you're pretty spot on there with that. How many Xboxes have you actually sold in that?
And like, I know it goes on PC and it does all this other stuff, but like, you have to actually have a gaming PC to really make use of Xbox Game Pass on that space. So like, I don't think you've got enough potential users who could subscribe to Game Pass and get enough out of it to actually say subscribed. Also, tons of people just subscribe for games that come out when they want to play them and then unsubscribe at the end of the month. Like, so that 28% growth probably isn't like 28% extra people. It's like there'll be people dipping in and out constantly. Yeah. Like, not everyone's me and Moody who just run Game Pass subscriptions like 365 days a year because fucking it's great.
Yeah, it really is, yeah.
But this 73%, man. That's fucking
what
nuts.
makes it even more insane is that they missed their target the year before in 2021. So they were just like, don't worry about 2021. 2022 is where it's at, and we're going to predict 73% growth on Game Pass. 73. What were you legit smoking, and can I have some?
Like, tie your targets to like whatever happened. Unless last year they did like 70% growth last year. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Where did you get that number from?
So they hit 70. So just speaking, like, we don't know what the numbers were for them last year or anything like that. But if their target was 70%, they still said they missed their target. So I'm like, what the hell?
Let me just check it out. Xbox Game Pass growth 2021. I want to see if I can get it. All I'm getting is 2022, 2022. Yep. 22. Do you remember when Google used to be useful?
No.
Like when you used to be able to Google something and it would give you the answer to the question that you asked instead of just to guess.
Nope.
So the subscription service I found at gamesindustry.biz, October 20th, 2021, James Batchelor. Subscription service only grew by 37% compared to a target of 48%. So they only targeted 48% last year, but like the year before, the year before was 86%.
Yeah,
which makes
was understandable
because it was a new service as well. So like, that's where you get a massive boost in numbers because it was fairly new at the time, and obviously then you had the pandemic going in. Yeah. So a lot of people were finding the value of Game Pass.
Yeah.
And 48% is a pretty reasonable target, like off of the back of that, because it's more or less half, right? And like they missed it by getting 37%. So then what they thought was, I don't know, we'll almost double the target.
I was going to say, they fucking doubled it.
No, it's going to go down.
And I was going to say, it went down. Like, what the hell?
Your growth's going to go down because there's a ceiling. Like, I know capitalism likes to pretend that infinite growth is possible, but there's a ceiling on the amount of people. Like, Phil Spencer even said it later on in this story. Like, there's a ceiling on how many people you're going to be able to get to subscribe to Game Pass.
Exactly.
That ceiling will go up when you start releasing games like Fable and Perfect Dark and, Forza.
You would hope so.
Because, like, I think when you start getting that with regularity, right, like every 3-4 months, like you get like a new big Xbox Game Studios game, which will happen within the next few years, then more people will be like, oh, maybe I should keep this Game Pass thing rolling because Fable's coming out in a couple of months, you know what I mean? And I've picked it up for Hellblade or whatever.
That's true.
And the
Whatever
CMA
else,
thing
so.
is just like I don't get the CMA's argument like at all of like because they're taking Game Pass as a separate thing from Xbox, and that's where this is where their contention with the Activision deal is going, because they're looking at like or is it the deal gives rise to a realistic prospect of substantial lessening of competition in multi-game subscription services. Guys, there's only 2 multi-game subscription services. One of them just launched and is completely different to how Game Pass works anyway. The other one is Game Pass, which has been around for a while and works differently. Unless PlayStation significantly alters their offering of like how PS Plus is going to work, like Game Pass is always going to be the dominant subscription service with or without Call of Duty.
No doubt about it. Yeah, it's the UK competition and markets authority just seem like they don't understand certain things and everything like that, and it's just like you see them come across exclusively, and they just think big company trying to buy other company, we must stop this or have a look into it or delve into it. Oh, we don't understand what any of this terminology means, so we're just going to speak out our asses and we're going to try and sound professional and everything. And when they clearly haven't looked into research of just like, oh, PlayStation only released theirs this year, they probably don't. I'm just going to be saying they probably don't even have 5 million subscribers for that yet.
Who knows? Like,
if they had, I think they would have been speaking about
the
it.
next
I think they
year,
would have said, they would have been saying we have 5 million subscribers already. Let's shout from the rooftops and everything. They haven't said anything about their subscribers.
Sure.
So that tells me they're very low right now for PlayStation.
Yeah.
And like PlayStation aren't even talking about the podcast, so
they haven't
really
said much, have they?
So so that just shows you how much they really give a flying hoot about it.
I did enjoy Microsoft's burn of like, oh well, PlayStation could always counter this by putting better games on its service. Could always release better games on your service, PlayStation.
No doubt.
It's like, it's funny.
It's a funny little dig. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, like I said, I think when we talked about this bitching between Phil Spencer and Jim Ryan, I was just like, oh my God, Jesus, I'm just sick of it. Like, come on.
In
and
theory,
it's not going to end until the deal actually goes through sometime next year.
I was going to say, in theory, we might only have like 6 months of this left. Depending on like how long it takes for them to make decisions. So, you know, we're closer to the end than we were at the beginning.
Oh, hell yeah, no doubt about it.
I can't wait.
But, we'll see what happens.
There's some follow-ups to the main story, though, which I just kind of tacked on the other one. So the first follow-up, it's another Game Pass-related one, which is the Yakuza producer credits Game Pass for rise in popularity in the West. This is from This is from Joshua Robertson over at The Gamer. He writes, even if you're not particularly fond of the franchise, you can't help but admit that the Yakuza / Like a Dragon franchise is arguably the most popular it has ever been in the West. The only evidence that you need that this is the case is the fact that a remake of Like a Dragon Ishin launches on February 21st next year, a niche spin-off title to an already niche series. Western audiences just can't get enough of the stuff at the minute. Excuse me. And Ryo Gatoku puts this down to the rise of subscription services. In an interview with Twinfinite, RGG studio head and Yakuza Like a Dragon chief producer Masayoshi Yokoyama spoke about the upcoming release of Like a Dragon Ishin and the reasons why it's finally coming to the West after all this time. Of those reasons, Yokoyama believes that subscription services such as Xbox Game Pass have been very helpful to increase the franchise's audience, allowing newer fans to play through all of the older titles with ease. And then there's a quote that says the same thing. I'm just going to stop it there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like, even though I'm a very new player to these games, like I said, I've only played Like a Dragon and I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait for the next one. Crossfingers next year.
That's what I was thinking as well. I was like, Like a Dragon 9 next year, right? Like, that sounds about right.
I think it screams like it. It does seem like they're talking about it a lot right now. So, like, I'm very thinking that, I think we're going to get a Yakuza game next year, which is just fantastic. I want Judgment 3, please, though. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah. I need that team again. That just like, I still remember just fucking watching you play it, falling in love with the game without playing it, and then playing it, and I was thinking, God, this is an
It's
amazing game
good.
with
It's
great
good shit.
characters.
This is what happened to me, but with the first Judgment game. Like,
Yeah. But this is to show us like the impact of Game Pass. Game Pass can literally bring new eyes to games they've never played before, and like I can say it, just you and you alone, from how you and me here scream from the rooftops of how great the Yakuza series was and everything. And yeah, and it's great to see that they finally came to Game Pass and everything. And we knew it was going to happen eventually, just like the Persona series is just now starting to drop on there. I think it's on the way everywhere. Yeah. Everyone heard great things about the Persona series, great things about the Yakuza series, but for some reason just never played them on the PlayStation or anything like that.
Sure.
But now they are, and that's what you want to hear. Great games getting played.
I just like.
What's more great about that?
I just like how I'm that weirdo that plays all those Japanese games you've never heard of, and it finally started paying off. Amy, have you heard of this game called Persona? Let's sit down. Let's have a chat.
First, you're an imbecile. Second,
First,
let's have this chat. Something like that, yeah.
We've got a second follow-up, which is Microsoft reveals almost half of Series S owners are new to Xbox. This is from Josh Colton, also from The Gamer. He writes, Xbox published and dissected its quarterly numbers this week, and there's a lot in there for the company to be happy about. But one note that was pretty much mentioned in passing, but is an important one worth bragging about, is that almost half the people who have picked up a Series S are new Xbox customers. As highlighted by Pure Xbox, CEO Satya Nadella was the one who revealed the very promising piece of information about Xbox's smaller current-gen console. Nadella's exact wording was, quote, nearly half of the Xbox Series X buyers are new to our ecosystem, end quote, suggesting that nearly 50% of those who have bought the console never owned an Xbox in the past. Sales figure stuff in the last paragraph. We can stop there.
After the story that you and Viz talked about last week and everything like that, I feel this one's a little bit more prevalent than it was before and everything. And yeah, this is great. Like Xbox Series S is, when it was revealed, was just like, wow, you're going to get all of this with Game Pass. It is just a Game Pass. I don't mean in a nasty way. It is purely mainly a Game Pass machine, but it's a great machine. That's what you want it for and everything. You don't have to worry about getting discs for the damn thing or anything like that.
Sure.
And it just works so well, and it's at a cheap enough price that's affordable for people. That just makes it so much more accessible for everyone. And yeah, like the idiot from last week. So I'm just going to tell you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I said so much in more diplomatic terms.
Fuck that. We've had a stupid political week, so it's gonna get dumber next week.
Yeah,
probably,
like
so.
it is nice to like hear this, because it's like there is that worry that like, oh, you know, if enough developers like pressure Xbox to like drop the Series S launch requirement, then that might actually happen, but not if the Series S is literally bringing people to Xbox who have never been to Xbox before. Like they might, then they're not going to be like, yeah, and then we're going to cut you out of like getting all of these new games, because eventually like the full switch over is going to happen, right? And most games are only going to be launching on like Series X and S, and there won't be an Xbox One.
The Xbox One will eventually stop altogether, just like the PlayStation 4 will. And yeah, there's no doubt about like, and at the same time, like I don't think there's the only way, like you kind of just stated, like the only way Phil Spencer would listen is if the Series S was not selling.
Yeah, right.
But as it's bringing people in and everything like that, I think Phil Spencer would be very hard done by to be even listen to them, listen to those type of developers or anything like that. I think he's just going to be like, yo, at the end of the day, we have an ecosystem that this one is practically, like I just stated, is a Game Pass machine. It is for the people who are able to afford it at a great machine, at a great level. But we'll be able to still be able to play those high-end games, maybe not as high as powerful as the one I've got, the X, but it'll still be able to play them. You are overcomplicating it, and you should just shut your mouth. And that's what I think he would just say to them.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, just like you know what? Like, just cope. I said it last week. Just cope.
Like they need him
Yeah,
Yeah, go on.
I'm not belittling like how difficult it must be to like create a game that runs on the Series X and the Series S. Like when I say that, but like that's the reality of the situation at the moment. So
They've been doing it for years, so complaining about it now is just like, what's the point, mate? You've been doing it for years. Your last game probably would have had to be optimized for both PlayStation 4, the Xbox Ones, and the Series X, the Series games, and the PlayStation 5. So like, and if if your game's going on the Switch, you'd lower it even more. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Go to Switch, go to Nintendo, and say, "Yo, make a fucking 4K console for us to be able to really up the wrinkle levels on our characters' faces."
I want to see those horse balls shrinking on my Nintendo Switch.
Like, yeah, like they, even though they need them just as much as like they need the game developers need Microsoft and PlayStation and everything like that, but they know if Microsoft and PlayStation and Nintendo decided, yo, no, if you're gonna whine and bitch about what we're giving you, we're out and everything like that, and we know this won't ever happen. But like the industry would pretty much crash because the PC would not be able to handle all of it.
No, and how much does it cost to get a PC to run
Yeah.
whatever the top spec game is right now? Like,
Yeah, so they're giving customers for the most part an affordable price to be able to play a 1080p game.
mm-hmm.
Whoever that game developer was last week, shut your mouth. Just shut it. Just top lip, bottom lip, put it together.
Wow. Jesus. On that note, Moody,
What have we been playing this week?
What
Amy?
have we both been playing? Well, I don't know if you were playing it this week, but you missed last week. So what have you been playing for the last couple of weeks? Well, should talk about.
Well, I played the week ago.
And I played today.
Yes, today. I'll state this right now. You know where it's on my list, Amy. I know you've been looking at my spreadsheet.
Oh, I've 100% been looking at your spreadsheet. I dip in there all the time. Because every time you modify it, you see it goes to the top of my, like, the list of all of, like, my spreadsheets on Google Docs. So when you make a change to it, it goes to the top, and I go, ooh, Moody's changed his spreadsheet. And I have a quick look.
We are OFK.
So this is a narrative adventure game that is also an EP release. I think it's fair to say, like, it's also an album launch by an actual band called OFK. And yeah, like it's pretty good. It's a very good game.
It's amazing, Amy. I fell in love with every single character on this game, all in their unique ways, and they were just all amazing. And the music is, I love it. I've been listening to it on my way to work, and it's just like, yep.
Yeah, so there's 5 episodes of the game series. There's 5 episodes of the EP, so like each five songs on the EP, so like each episode is like based around like one song. The song from the final episode called "Thanks." I love that game. I love that song so much.
Yeah, it's so good. It really, really is. And I love the art style. The art style is spectacular. I absolutely adore it. This type of game just when we saw it, I was thinking, oh, okay, now we're talking. Now we're talking. We're getting something, yeah. And then I played it, eventually got around to playing it, and I was just like, this is amazing. Like, I text you saying, oh my God, Amy, there's a character on here, you're going to say, step on me.
Yeah. Which is true, that's what happened. I can't believe you got to it first. I remember this was a Game Awards reveal. The year before last, maybe. And I was like, oh, I'm into this. Like, this is such a cool idea. It's a band releasing an EP, but they're making a video game about, like, the origin story or whatever. And I've, like, had it on my radar. And then it came out, and I don't know. I didn't pick it up straight away. And then I saw you playing it on Steam. And I was like, cool, Moody's playing it on Steam, which means Moody owns it on Steam, which means I own it on Steam. And I was like, just file that information away for later. And then you texted me and you said like, oh, I'm really enjoying it. And then you did the podcast where you played a couple of episodes and you're like, oh, no, I'm really enjoying it. And I was like, cool, like file this away for later. And then you sent me the screenshot.
I was thinking this is gonna get it.
Where it's like the one character's like, what was it? I want to blow off some steam on you, and then it was the
picture.
It was the potential choices for like, and the bottom one was just, I'll steam you like a pork bun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've just played it, so I remember it came up again.
Call me Thomas the Tank Engine, or I'll steam you like a pork bun. Those were the conversations you have.
So you sent me that, and you were like, "This is what I'm doing right now," and I literally texted you back within like 2 minutes, and I was like, "Right, I'm gonna play this game now for the next podcast."
Yeah, each character is completely different and unique, and going through their own thing in such an amazing way. The first episode, I completely connected with Suki. I can't remember.
It was it was in my mind, and then you just said that. I was like, wait, that's not right.
But the pretty much the main character in it, and like the things that she's going through personally and everything like that. I was just like, fucking hell! I was like, I'm resonating with this character in such a big way. Just thinking like, how my last 4 years of my life, from like changing careers and everything, and going through like college and everything, and like, will I be able to get the job I want, and the job I'm dreaming to get and everything, and hopefully working hard and whatnot, and like just seeing what she was going through and everything. I was thinking, I was just like, I'm right there with you. That's you and me, and everything right now at this moment in time. But it was such like, it was so great. And then, but each episode is dedicated to a different character. And they delve into each different character's personality and worries.
Yeah, basically.
And it's great.
Itsumi. Itsumi. I had the name in my head, and then you said what you said, and then it knocked it out of my head, and I was like, I've just played the game. I don't want to know this.
Yeah, Itsumi, absolutely loved it. The part that I have to say there's one part literally right at the beginning in the first episode where she's there, Jay comes up to the bar, and they're just chatting. I was thinking, I was like, oh, hello. And then the other character comes in, and I was just like, no, not now. Get away, boy. Go, shoot. Get out of here. We're talking.
And that's more or less how the conversation goes. It's just like, no, go away. Yeah, shoot.
Go away.
Yeah, no, like...
It was really good. I've adored this.
I did like the intro specifically. Like the first episode was good. It was about Itsumi. Like she was like the Fox character, and yeah, like each. So there's like 4 main characters in the band OFK, and like the first 4 episodes is more or less a focus on them, and then the 5th episode is like a thing about. It's like a big group thing where it's like, okay, everything's fucked. What do we do? Like bring her, and then everybody like does the thing and We'll see. How does it end? Well, you'll have to play it to find out. But so you'd be shocked to know it ends with an EP release, in real life. But no, like I loved all 4 characters. Like I loved the interplay, the back and forth. I loved the you can make too many choices, and you don't really affect the story so much as you just affect the immediate dialogue, as opposed to being like branching narratives. You affect like the immediate dialogue, and then maybe like references that are made later in like later episodes. Like I know you can name Itsumi's car at one point, and that like comes back up, like not in like major ways where it's like, oh, this changed the path of the game, but it's just like, no, every now and again they'll just call the car the name that you picked in episode 4, and stuff like that, which is really cool. Like it was nice. Every episode felt really well paced. Like, and then you get the big music bit, and the music was great. And like, this is weird because the game doesn't have a lot of interactivity, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, didn't bother me whatsoever.
But like, you pick some options, you send some text messages. I'll steam you like a pork bun. I totally picked that option. And but like when we was doing the music videos and stuff, I was kind of like, because like those are the most interactive parts of the game, where it's like you're actually doing things with the controller. And I was literally doing them, going, man, I wish I could just like sit back and enjoy the music more. Like I was actually in my head like going, man, I wish this game had less interactivity. Like just let me enjoy the bop. Like this music's really good.
Yeah. I agree with you there. I do agree with you there, no doubt about it. Shout out to Debug. Have to shout Debug out. Oh my god! At the end of it, I went to my partner. Baby, we need a kitty cat.
Can we get a kitty cat?
I want to call it Debug
or a hologram.
Yeah.
No, Debug is cool. Like I don't really have a favorite character. It's one of those things where it's like all of them. All of the characters are sort of like they popped in their own ways, right? Like
great.
I did get like annoyed at the part, like a J in the part where I was probably supposed to be like really annoyed with her. As part of the narrative, and like there was a point where I wanted to pick Luca up and just shake him about for a bit, like stop it, you know what I mean? But like that's just good writing, right? That's just good character writing, where it's like I'm connected to the narrative in a way where it's like I'm feeling the things that the characters are feeling, which was cool. The only thing I will say, the only other thing I didn't, that kind of I would say would be was a negative for me, was in the final episode where they introduced, there was like I guess you could call it like a mini game.
Yeah,
where I was just like,
comes out of nowhere a little bit.
I get the idea behind this, but like it's your final episode and everything's coming to like a narrative head, right? And like every like 20 minutes or so, they're like, well, now we're gonna pull a handbrake for the next like 10 minutes, and I was just like, oh, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah, I do agree. I also didn't like some of the resolutions because I kind of felt like I wanted to be part of those resolutions. In the finale, but at the same time, I'm just like, I'm okay with it, but I would have liked it. But
yeah, you would have liked to have seen some of the payoffs, right?
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Because there was one sort of like plot line that was like going through the whole series, right? Because this was released weekly, even though I played it all in one day. Like that, there was like one through line where it was like, oh, we're just not going to get a resolution. Like we're not going to get to see the resolution of this, I guess. But like, that's just the nature of these types of games, right? It's like it's about the character arcs, right? So like, if you think about where Itsumi and Luca and Carter and Jay are at the beginning of like, or in the first episode, and like where like what each one of them their character arcs is, like you get the resolutions to those. Like it's more of a character driven thing.
Agreed.
So like I was a bit miffed where I was like, oh man, I wish I could have seen this happen, but I didn't. But it would have been cool to see it. But I was happy enough with where everything went and where everything shook out. Like it's the kind of game I want to see more of, where it's like, I remember when I did a podcast years and years ago, with Keith and Russ, and I think Tom was there as well. Where we were talking about like things we would like to see as video games, and like they were all focusing on like TV shows or movies or whatever that they wanted to see. And I was like I went in with these high concepts, right? Like I was just being weird with it. And I remember saying like, I'd love to like, at the time I was like, I'd love to see like the sitcom, right? Like the TV sitcom or like the TV drama, like adapted as like into like video game format. Like not like not like the Telltale stuff where it is literally just a TV show, but you push some buttons. But like the sort of like the storytelling styles and the moods and the vibes and stuff. And We Are OFK is basically that game.
Yeah,
like
completely agree. It's
nice to just like experience stories with like more relatable plots than this alien is about to blow up the planet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The only character I took a while to get around to, and it's just because her episode came fourth, and that was Carter. Carter doesn't really speak much in the episode. She's like in the background, I felt, for most of the first 3 episodes. She has dialogue and everything, and she's very witty, but I didn't know much about her until that episode, and then I think that was like, okay.
I think that was on purpose, though, right? Like their sort of whole deal, which you don't even really get like a huge reveal into, right? Like a lot of it is more hinted at than necessarily like explicitly like told on the screen. But like I think the fourth episode hits as like it goes as well. It's as good as it is because you don't really get that. You don't really have all that, like much information about Carter leading into it, which I think is that's why the fourth episode would work so well. Like I feel like if you already knew a lot of that information or like what a lot of Carter's backstory or character, like the fourth episode might just feel like, why are we doing this? like no, I need because at the beginning before we like really started getting into like Carter's backstory in that episode, I was like, no, hang on, like we've just had this like all this major shit happen in episode 3, and now you're telling me we're not going to get to any of it. But then by the end of that episode, I was like, okay, fair. I'll let you off. I guess
I should have just waited for them.
I'll let you off. Like I hate when TV shows do that, where it's like something ridiculous happens in episode 8, so, and then you're like, oh my god, I need to see how this goes, and then episode 9 is like a clip show, and you're like, fuck off. You're making me wait for another episode, you bastards.
Yeah.
But no, like We Are OFK is definitely like, I'm glad I played it. Like I said to you when you talked about it the last time, it was on my have to play by January list. You just accelerated that process. And I'm glad you did. I got a good time with it.
Very good, yeah. Definitely a game to go and check out, everyone. Give it a go. We Are OFK.
We Are OFK. I liked where the band name comes from. I really want to shout it out. I'm not going to, like, why the band is called OFK. Loved it. I just wanted to say that. I'm not going to say it, spoil it for anyone that hasn't played the game, but I was like, that's fucking great. I had another game I want to talk about. I know I had 2 on here, but I'm playing more of it tomorrow on Sunday, so I'll talk about it next week. But I've been addicted to Vampire Survivors. I played like 12 hours of it.
You are a vampire lady, so I'm not surprised by this.
It's such a simple game, though, really. Like, so Vampire Survivors is like a weird. I don't even know. Actually, I'm gonna bring up the Steam store page because like the game it reminds me most of is Loop Hero from last year, where it's like this is kind of a concept that seems really simplistic, and you'd think it's been done before, but it's not really been done before. Like, and it's kind of unique and it's very addictive. So let's have a look. Steam store page. Vampire Survivors is a time survival game with minimalistic gameplay and roguelike elements. Hell is empty, the devils are here, and there's no place to run or hide. All you can do is survive as long as you can until death inevitably puts an end to your struggles. Gather gold at each run to buy upgrades and help the next survivor. So basically, Vampire Survivors is when you start the game and you play the first level, you put the character down and you're on a map, and enemies just start coming in waves at you. It's like a top-down game, very pixel art, very minimalistic graphics. Like if you before like thousands of enemies start spawning on the screen at once, if you told me like this was a Super Nintendo game, I would have been like, yeah, I could see that happening. And then too many enemies appear, and you're like, no, this couldn't have. The Nintendo would have exploded.
What? You flying off?
But so the way it works is you can move, and that's it. Like all you have control over in terms of like a character is just where you can move around to.
Yeah.
And you have weapons. Like you'll start off with whatever weapon the character that you select starts off as. Like one of my favorite characters has a magic wand, which like fires a projectile like just at the nearest enemy. And you can't aim anything. Like everything is done on cooldowns and timers. And the idea is you kill enemies, they drop gems, you collect the gems, and then you use those gems to level up in the run. And every time you level up, you're given an option of like picking like an upgrade. So you can potentially like maybe, and they're always randomized. So you can maybe pick to upgrade the magic wand that you've got, so it fires an extra projectile or it does more damage. Or you can pick another weapon. So then you got 2 weapons running simultaneously. Maybe like you shoot fireballs every few seconds. And then, or like there's like passive stuff. So like you can pick up something that'll lower all of your cooldowns, so all of your weapons fire faster. And at first I wasn't really sure what the fuck I was doing, because I was like, it's such a weirdly minimalist game where it's like all I can do is control the character's movement, right? And I have to survive. And I don't even know, like, how long do I have to survive? What am I actually doing? Do I have any objectives in this game? And, like, you slowly start figuring stuff out where it's like, oh, if you survive to a certain time, you complete the level. Or, oh, there's, like, secrets hidden in the levels, right? Like, if I can go to here, I'll find this thing. And if I do the thing, then I'll actually unlock a new character or I'll unlock a new weapon or something like that. So you start, like, figuring out, you start giving yourself objectives in each map, and it goes from, like, if you at the start of, like, any given level, maybe it's like 10-15 enemies just, like, coming towards you on a map, and you're firing your one weapon, and then by the time you get to, like, 25 minutes into the game, and it's just thousands of enemies are coming towards you, and there's so many particle effects going off because you're, like, level 60 and you've got, like, 7 different weapons that are firing, like, 20 projectiles in all directions, and shit's exploding everywhere, and it's great. It's so great. Like, it's a very much hard to put down game. In terms of, you finish a run and then you unlock shitloads of gold or whatever, or a new character and stuff, and then you're like, okay, like, you can buy, like, permanent upgrades and permanent power-ups with the gold that you collect. So, like, extra power, like health regeneration, stuff like that, and then different characters you can unlock that have, like, different starting weapons and different buffs and advantages and disadvantages, and then there's even more secrets to find, which I'm still digging into because this game is surprisingly deep.
Very good.
But yeah, it's like you finish a run and then you're like, shit, I'm gonna do that. I want to do it again. Like, what's my next objective? Okay, I need to do this thing. I'm gonna go and find this coffin in the Mad Forest or whatever. I'm gonna do that, and you just do it straight away. And the next thing you know, it's been 3 hours, and you're just like, oh shit. But I'll just play one more. Like, I'll just quickly play one more game. But it's also a game where it's like the maximum, like, a level can last is 30 minutes. So far as I'm aware, like, 30 minutes is, like, the time that you need to survive to clear the level, like, finish the level. There's other modes that I need to dig into, and there's other, like, I haven't even unlocked all of the things that you can collect. Like, there's a whole system of, like, something called Arcanas, which is, I don't even know what they do because I haven't unlocked them yet. So, like, I've been playing for, like, 12 hours. I'm gonna be, like, I think I'm gonna be chipping away at this game, like, just in the background of, like, playing other things like We Are OFK, God of War in a couple of weeks. Like, I'll just be chipping away at Vampire Survivors all year. Like, when I started the game, I have, like, a tier system on my Google Doc, on my my spreadsheet. I keep a log of all the games that I'm playing. I don't put them in order, so it's not like I'm doing, like, a running game of the year list, but I have color codes. So, like, they'll be, like, red is, like, the worst of the games that I've played, air quotes worst. And then, like, red, yellow, orange, blue, green, purple. And, like, the higher it goes in those colors, like, the more I liked it, right? And then I'll worry about organizing it in January. And, like, Vampire Survivors, when I first started playing it, like, started off at one spot, and then I played a bit more, and then it went up, and then I played another bit more, and it just, you know what I mean? It's just like the more I was playing of it, the more I was like, oh, I'm getting it more, and I'm enjoying it more. If I play it long enough, it might just be my game of the year.
Fantastic. That's what you want to hear, isn't it?
But considering all you could do is move, like, you can play the game one-handed because you only need to move with the analog stick to select some power-ups, I guess.
Very cool.
It's a very satisfying game to play.
That's good to hear. That's what we want to hear.
I mean, you can kill, like, you've got a kill counter on the screen at all times. Like, by the time you're into, like, 25, 30 minutes, you've probably killed, like, 20 or 30,000 enemies. It gets that ridiculous. I'm planning on streaming it at some point. So I guess you can see it. It's a wild game. It's a wild game. I just missed my mouth with most of that water. And we own it on Steam, Moody. We own it on Steam. But anyway, should we move on?
Move on.
Indie Game of the Week. This is the thing we do every week where we try to highlight some cool looking indie games that aren't out yet. This week's Indie Game of the Week is called Shumi Come Home. Shumi Come Home is a cozy exploration adventure game where you play as a tiny mushroom who's trying to get back home. Play as Shumi, who was taken from its home unexpectedly and dropped into the middle of the forest. Lost and confused, you must journey through different areas of the forest and find your way back with the help of your new tools and fellow forest creatures. Run, glide, climb, and swim your way through different areas of the forest. Chat with quirky forest creatures you meet along the way. Some might offer their help while others might need yours. Go on different adventures to get back home. Some may have light platforming while others involve some light puzzle solving. It's being developed by Some Humble Onion and published by Moon Eye Studios. It's coming 2023 at PC via Steam. There's a link in the description. Go wishlist the game. Go check it out. The one thing I will say that wasn't in the description is Shumi is a mushroom person. So he plays a mushroom person. I don't know if that helps.
Sweet.
There's a lot of games about mushrooms coming out.
I can see that. And before we get to the next stage, I need to stand up.
Ooh. I'm not going to make any sound effects for you standing up. Well, got a whole new perspective on Moody.
Stretch the legs.
Stretch the legs out.
Stretch the legs out.
Just stretch it out. All right, Moody. We've got a decent chunk of time, so hold on, because I need to hit because I added something just before we started, right? So I need to hit refresh on the table of contents.
And we can start with that one you just put in.
Okie dokie. They're all hyperlinks. I was very clever when I made this new document. I could just click on the headline and go straight to the story. CD Projekt Red announces remake of the first Witcher game. This is from Ed Nightingale over at Eurogamer. He writes, CD Projekt Red has announced a full remake of the first Witcher game in production. Earlier this month, the developer unveiled his forthcoming plans, including a Witcher project called Canis Majoris by a third party. Turns out that's a remake of the first Witcher game, developed by Fool's Theory with the supervision of CD Projekt Red. The game is being developed in Unreal Engine 5, sharing the same tool set as the new upcoming Witcher trilogy. It's unclear which platforms the game will be released on. PC, Xbox Series X and S, and PlayStation 5. There you go, Eurogamer. I solved it for you. The first Witcher game was released for PC in 2007, followed by an enhanced edition in 2008. Adam Badowski, head of the studio, says, quote, "The Witcher is where it all started for us. For CD Projekt Red, it was the first game we made ever, and it was a big moment for us then. Going back to this place and updating the game for the next generation of gamers to experience it is just as big, if not bigger. Collaborating with Fool's Theory on the project is just as exciting as some of the people they have previously worked in. Some of the people there have been previously involved in the Witcher games. They know the source material well. They know how to make gamers. They know how much gamers have been looking forward to seeing the remake happen, and they know how to make incredible and ambitious games. And although it will take some time before I'm ready to share more about and from the game, I know it'll be worth the wait." End quote.
There's no doubt about it. Like, this is the one I think a lot of people have not been able to play because it's only on one thing. It's only on PC and everything, and not everyone has a big, powerful PC. But it's also no doubt about this game has aged incredibly poorly when it comes to gameplay compared to what Witcher 2 and Witcher 3 are like. Witcher 3 was some of the finest gameplay I thought was incredible gameplay. Witcher 3. So to think that they're gonna remake this in Unreal 5, which that's going to be a sexy looking game. There's no doubt about that. With the gameplay of Witcher 3 or something similar to it, this is a recipe for hopefully enormous success, and I look forward to seeing this whenever it comes out and everything, because Witcher 2 and Witcher 3 is some of the best RPG games out there. I think there are some amazing fantasy story games out there. And hopefully it can complete the collection when it comes to Witcher. I'm not going to lie. I think after this, they will probably remake Witcher 2.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Probably. Who knows?
I think they will, just to bring it up to.
I mean, everybody's remaking everything these days, so you're probably right. It is. I'll tell you what, though, Moods. It is nice to have a podcast co-host on this podcast who actually likes the Witcher, who doesn't talk shit about Witcher 2.
Witcher 2 is great.
Yeah, Keith didn't like it.
Okay, that's Keith.
Yeah, that's why I fired him.
Why you walked off?
This is my new thing. I'm gonna try and put a joke in every episode about why I fired Keith. I've decided this is my new running joke for the next few months.
Cool.
Witcher 2 is awesome. I have proper
Witcher
fucked up
2 is awesome. No doubt about it.
I'm getting my hair cut on Friday, hopefully. Yeah, so this is the last podcast where I'm gonna have to deal with all this hair. I've proper fucked up putting this hairband on.
Well,
fuck's sake.
You can bitch about Keith, or what your full thoughts on this?
Take the sex cards out.
What?
Take the sex cards out.
Oh, okay.
Those are my thoughts on Witcher 1 remake. I'm not going to play it. I'm happy it's going to exist for people who've never played the first Witcher. But I did, so, and I don't really feel like going back to it.
That's fair.
But if I had one piece of advice for CD Projekt Red, it would be take the cards out that you get for having sex with women in the game. Like the fucking Pokemon cards.
Isn't that in 2 as well?
I don't remember, but I know it's definitely in 1, and they need to take that shit out. It's 2025 or whenever it's coming out.
Yeah. It's in 2 if I remember rightly.
Sorry, I had to fix it.
You do not apologize whatsoever. Let's get to one I know you want to talk about, because I think it's going to make you laugh your ass off. Meta losing billions in Metaverse, and it's not getting better.
Meta is losing billions on the Metaverse, and it's not getting better. This is from Rebecca Valentine over at IGN, who writes, Facebook and Quest company Meta is currently getting raked over the coals. I kind of saw that out of the corner of my eye. I was like, did Agent 47 just take Moody out?
Predator just came behind me and just went.
Is that Mark Zuckerberg? Sorry, I need a cough now. Love being sick, it's great. Right, let's try that again. Facebook and Quest company Meta is currently getting raked over the coals by investors due to yet another quarter of massive losses in its VR and Metaverse division. The company's quarterly earnings revealed that it is Reality Labs division, which covers its VR and XR efforts as well as Metaverse endeavors, saw $3.7 billion in losses from operations. And while this was an exceptionally large loss for the division, it's coming off a long history of losses going back quarter after quarter. That same division has seen losses of $9.4 billion so far this year, compared to $6.9 billion in the same period last year. Notably, though, there doesn't seem to be directly tied to a massive drop in revenue. Overall company revenue is $29 billion for the quarter, down only 4% year over year. But revenue for the Reality Labs segment alone was only $285 million, meaning Facebook's family of apps division, which deals with Facebook, Instagram, and the like, largely carried the company. Put simply, Meta's VR and Metaverse efforts are bringing in very little money compared to how much money Meta is spending on them. And it's prepared to spend even more. Alongside its announcement of a new consumer MetaQuest headset for next year and expenditures related to that, Meta said it expected the division's operating losses to grow significantly. Infrastructure-related expenses are also expected to play an even bigger role. For right now, it doesn't sound like Meta has a lot of good answers for shareholders upset at the big spending either in its earnings outlook. Meta said it had, quote, an increased scrutiny on all areas of operating expenses, end quote, but said that scrutiny would take time to actually have an impact on the numbers. Given some of the language used in the earnings, it's sounding more and more like this may mean layoffs. And on the earnings call, multiple shareholders brought up the spending issue, only to be repeatedly assured that Meta was confident its investments would eventually pay off, though perhaps not for a while, as leadership indicated its Metaverse efforts may take some time to bring returns. Xbox boss Phil Spencer called current ideations of the metaverse, quote, a poorly built video game, saying that building a metaverse that's like a living room is not how I want to spend my time, end quote.
So, I have thoughts on this. I've had these thoughts on this thing since it was revealed last year when I was at college and everything. I want to say this. Zuckerberg, we all know he's an asshole. We all know this, and we know Facebook is a terrible platform for social media, or just a terrible platform in general and whatnot. I think this is potentially I think this is potentially one of the biggest futures for the industry, not in games wide, but for working wise for people in general and whatnot. And I think it could be something that could be very helpful in many different industries, in GPs, in hospitals, and everything like that. Because I think could potentially be like that. And that's why they keep on saying right now they know this is a long term when it comes to the potential profitability of this thing, if it ever comes to it. What Phil Spencer's saying right now is completely spot on. It looks like pile of garbage. It really, really does. And to think that, and Zuckerberg and his team and everything like that seem like it's like, oh, it's okay, we're losing billions of dollars and everything like that. That could be something that you could use on the planet and do like that and everything. And the worst thing about it, like what they said in the article, we are probably going to see layoffs from this, which is deplorable.
That's the part
I'm
not laughing about.
Yeah. I'm not laughing about this whole thing whatsoever. It's deplorable because that's what's going to happen, and it's not their fault because you guys are throwing in billions of dollars into this product that is not ready. I hope it will be eventually, and it's going to be. I think we'll be able to help many people in office works, like I stated already, hospitals, GPs, the whole shebang and whatnot like that. I think it could help many people in the future and whatnot. But it's a product that is not ready. And it's also a product that the people of the earth aren't ready for. Let's just be frank here. They aren't ready for it. There's not many people clamoring out to get a VR headset and whatnot. And so, like, I see nothing but amazing potential for this type of product. From this company, from Google, from Microsoft, whoever wants to really go for this type of thing, I think the potential is incredible. In Zuckerberg's hands, it's a disaster. And because it looks like this and everything like that, it's just even worse. And like I said, I hope this could be something that will be amazing and help a lot of people. But at this moment in time, it's not helping anybody. And it sucks.
Sorry, I don't know. So I don't know much about the metaverse. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. Some kind of fucking virtual world that we're all going to live in or whatever. Like, I've seen what companies have tried to do with it so far and what their like plans for the metaverse are. Some of them I feel like just say the word metaverse because it's like a buzzword. Like I remember Bandai Namco were talking about it a few months ago. They were like, we're going to build a metaverse of all our games, and it was nonsense, right? It was just they were using the word metaverse because the word metaverse was popular. My thoughts on what like the metaverse is right now and what it could potentially do in the future. Hey, maybe the metaverse could be an amazing tool for humanity in the future. Like Moody says, I'm not going to dispute that because I don't know enough to even agree or not agree.
Yeah.
What I will say is, one day ago there was an article published on The Guardian whose headline was that the UN finds no credible pathway to 1.5 degrees C in place, and with a subheader of failure to cut carbon emissions means rapid transformation of societies is only option to limit impact report, and that this was a report that was released by the UN scientists who basically said our planet and the society that like we are trying to build are going to all rapidly change because we are destroying the planet that we currently live on. So like, even if the metaverse is something that's really cool and is really going to be helpful to humanity in the future, it's not going to help us be able to breathe or not drown from the oceans rising or not die in a wildfire. Like, it's October 28th, Mooney, and it's still shorts weather in the UK. It was 16 degrees today. And someone just walked past my house one of my neighbors and was like, "Ooh, it's lovely weather, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Are alarm bells not going off?" Like,
Nope.
are people not realizing that it's nearly November and it's still more or less summer?
Nope.
And it's not. You're absolutely right. So right now, like, I don't really give to, and like, you know, this is why I laugh that Zuckerberg is running his company into the ground with the metaverse. Like, apart from like people getting laid off sucks, and like he could just stop spending billions upon billions of dollars on a thing that's never going to take off. But he's not going to do that because he's a billionaire with a vanity problem. Like, there's no point in building this cool alternate universe thing that I can go into if, you know, the planet is dying, Cloud, to use a Final Fantasy VII reference. Like, there's no point in it. So, do I laugh at the downfall of the metaverse? Yeah. That doesn't mean that maybe there aren't fantastic potential benefits, but we kind of need to secure this world's future before we build another one.
Oh, you know, we're not going to secure this world at all. Eventually, just going to decide we're going to fly
That's
off
it,
to
we're
another
fucked.
planet and burn that one.
No, we're going to live on a stupid fucking space. All the rich people are going to live on a space station and leave the rest of us to fucking fight it out amongst ourselves. Like,
That's fine, we'll probably save it then.
yeah.
The planet will take back control, and then it'll be like, you have to survive in the wilderness, fighting all the animals.
Yeah, if everybody of a certain net worth and above just got on a rocket and fucked off to Mars, like, we might actually have a chance.
Go
and it's
burn
like
Mars. Wait, it's already burned.
go fucking burn Saturn to the ground or whatever, and leave us the fuck alone, all right? Like, go fracking for oil on Pluto. I don't know, fucking hell. But like, yeah, it's not a question of like what the metaverse can do or like how amazing it could be. For me personally, it is just a case of, hey, you know, like, let's sort Earth out, and then we can build this. We can build this cool virtual world, and we can all go visit that.
Yeah, my whole thing, like, what you were saying there is completely spot on. Like, the planet is more important than this and anything like that. I completely agree with you. It's just like my thing is just like I'm just going off what I read off when I was in college.
Of course.
I read a lot about this stuff and everything, and the potential is absolutely skyrocketing and amazing. But it's like it's in the hands of a complete muppet with, like you said, a vanity project. And everything like that. Yeah. And he's in that everything. We all know he's a complete and utter douchebag. And yeah, it's a shame it's in his hands, but at the end of the day, I don't think I would trust it in any hands at the end of the day either. I wouldn't trust it with Microsoft's hand or Frenchville. I wouldn't trust it with Sony's hands or Amazon's hands or any other freaking company's hands, really, to do this type of project that would help people in the long term.
Because it's never going to be like, if any company or any like billionaire like Musk or Bezos or Zuckerberg was like the person in charge of it, it wouldn't be built to help people and do good for society. It would be built to make money.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Yeah, and that's the shame thing about it. That's the shit thing.
Which is a shame, yeah, because the metaverse could probably be a cool thing if it was built for society and not for profit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Not fucking legless fucking avatars floating around shit renditions of the Eiffel Tower. He thinks this is good. That's what makes it funny. He's like, this is great. And everybody else is like, what the fuck are you talking about, Zuckerberg? You don't even have any feet.
Well, that's true.
Sorry. Where would you like to go next?
Let's talk about something Hellena Taylor.
I don't know what this is going to be about. This is good. Like, take it away.
So
obviously
it was finally confirmed what the article, what von Bloomberg was stating and everything, that the information she gave in the first video and everything like that was half truth and everything, basically like that, and everything. What I am hating from the discourse from this is that it's been completely forgotten about. That this is not about her. This is not about Platinum Games. It's not about being at 3 or anything like that. What is more important is that video game actors, voice actors in general, are paid poorly, disgustingly poorly. That the industry's able to get away with this type of bollocks and everything like that. And the thing is about it, if she just came out and stated that this was the offer, what Bloomberg reported and everything, which she has now confirmed was the offer and everything, I think she would have still had everybody on her side, behind her back, cheering her on, saying, fucking get in there, lass. You fight the corporate bollocks and all like that. I think she would have had everyone on her side still. Mm-hmm. Now she has basically no one on her side because she's been found out that she was half-truth and lying basically to the people and everything and trying to stir some sort of shit that's not for some, as always when it comes to the internet, has got Jennifer Hill getting attacked and abused and everything, as always when it comes to the fucking internet and whatnot. And what makes it even worse, what pisses me off even fucking more about Hellena Taylor, she's one of the charities she's put out for the game and everything like that, apparently is a charity that supports supports abortions and everything, and you're just like, oh great. Not abortion, says anti-abortion and everything. I've just realised what I said there. My apologies there. And what I'm thinking, oh, great. You're one of those people. What's even more? And I'll shout out Steph Sterling for this because they were the one who revealed this. She's apparently a transphobe as well. So apparently at the time of what we was talking about a couple of weeks ago, this amazing voice actress is a bigot. And because of her lies, has now turned the conversation about on her. And at the end of the day, forget about the end of the day. They've turned it around to be all about her and her lies, and everybody in the industry, the sites and everything, are forgetting about the voice actors need to be paid better. The union that they have need to get their finger out their ass and get negotiating to get the pay higher. But they're not. They're talking about her. And I hate that. And that's why I wanted to bring it up. I'm just like, for fuck's sakes. How this whole thing's turned to 180 within 2 bloody weeks. Everyone was on her side. No one is on her side.
I mean, the problem is now, I mean, I said this last week, the because of what Hellena Taylor herself has done, the next voice actor who would potentially come out and talk about like poor pay, or like, you know, something like that is like going to have a much harder time.
Yeah. They're not going to be taken serious because of her.
Yeah, basically.
They're going to be questioning, but what's the truth? Are you telling us everything and whatnot?
Yeah.
Are you a bigot as well? Type of thing, you know? Everyone's going to be questioning it. And it's like, what the, like, and it sucks. It sucks. We shouldn't be talking about this. We should be talking about voice actors need to be paid better. Mm-hmm. And everyone's not talking about that. And
sure. Schreier's not going to write that in an article, though. That's all I'll say about that. I did learn one interesting fact about Jason Schreier this week, actually, completely by accident. He does have a lot of queer women who work in games blocked. Because I saw this because I follow a lot of them, and when he did the story where he was like, "Hey, you know, this has been confirmed now." And a bunch of people were talking like, I can't see these tweets because he has me blocked. And I was like, oh, okay. That's weird. And I don't think it's Jason. I'm not trying to insinuate Jason Schreier is like a bigot or anything. Just that I think he's probably a bit too quick on the trigger with his block button.
Oh, hell yeah.
But
hell yeah, he's very trigger shot, happy with the block button.
It's his Twitter and he can do what he wants with it. I just like, it's not a great look, Jason.
That's true.
Anyway,
let's crack on.
I feel like I wanted to add something to that.
Go for it. Yeah, no worries.
So I was like, I like that.
Let's talk about BioWare, Amy.
Okay, let's talk about BioWare, Amy. BioWare's Dragon Age Dreadwolf is now playable, quote, to the very end, end quote. This is from Matt Wills over at Eurogamer. He writes, BioWare has revealed Dragon Age Dreadwolf, the latest installment of its fantasy role-playing series, has now reached the alpha stage of development and is playable, quote, to the very end, end quote. The news was shared in a new developer blog post celebrating the alpha milestone. Quote, up to this point, we've been working hard on the various parts of the game, but it's not until the alpha milestone that a game all comes together, the developer explained. Now, for the first time, we can experience the entire game from the opening scenes of the first mission to the very end. We can see, hear, feel, and play everything as a cohesive experience, end quote. The remainder of BioWare's blog post details the next steps on Dreadwolf's journey towards release, which include increasing visual fidelity to its final form. This isn't even my final form. Iterating on gameplay features and evaluating key elements such as pacing, player progression, how relationships evolve, and narrative cohesion. BioWare added, quote, now that we have the ability to do a complete playthrough, we can iterate and polish on the things that matter most to our fans, end quote.
We're going to see this game at Game Awards.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
100%, yeah. And I'm going to say, they're going to say
2023.
2023.
Come out in 2023. No.
It depends. No. It really depends, Amy, because we're in completely different areas. Obviously, we know this and whatnot between our careers and whatnot. I'm only going off what I've learnt from where I'm at and everything like that. It really does fucking depend where they are really at the where they're saying right now. It all depends.
Alpha.
How long has the game been, quote unquote, been playable to the end? How long has it? Has that just been now? Or has this been something that's 6 months ago? Or something like that? And everything like that. It really does depend. I'm not going to lie. This does excite me to think that the game, there's an ending. We got there. Finally, maybe.
There's a game, there's a game
There's
here.
There's a whole game there that you were able to play. That is sexy to hear, Amy. The amount of times you teased me thinking it was going to be a fucking online freaking... What's the game code?
A live service game. A live service. To be fair, that was a fun year for me.
That was a fun year because you were fucking right for a long time. That's what made it even worse. But no, yeah, it just excites me. There's no doubt about it. Everyone knows I am a huge fan of Dragon Age Inquisition. Yes, I know Dragon Age 1, haven't played Origins, and 2, I haven't touched either. But Inquisition, oh my god, I adore that game. It's so good. And I am excited to see what the story is for the Dreaded Wolf. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah, it's playable at the very end, which is a really good sign. Like, it's in alpha now, so now it's like it's still gonna be a while. Like, but that's fine. Take your time. No, none of that BioWare magic this time, please. Thank you.
Yeah, don't want any of that. I do not want to play this game in here after I've completed this game that you've done BioWare magic, because then I'm going to be very sad.
Yeah.
Very pissed off at you.
Very angry.
Yeah, and everything. But no, this is exciting. This is great to hear. Like I said, I think you agreed with me. Like we're going to see this at Game Awards.
Probs.
And excited. Callisto Protocols.
All right. We got plenty of time. The Callisto Protocol developer cancels Japanese version. This is from Victoria Kennedy. Over at Eurogamer, he writes, Striking Distance and publisher Krafton have announced the Japanese version of upcoming space horror The Callisto Protocol has been cancelled. This is due to the game's violent content, which means it was unable to secure an age rating with the CERO, Japan's equivalent of PEGI in Europe, and the ESRB in North America. The developer has stated those who pre-ordered this version of the game will receive a full refund for their purchase. This news was shared on the Callisto Protocol's Japanese Twitter feed, a translation which has been verified by Eurogamer, of which reads, quote, The Callisto Protocol has decided to stop the release of the Japanese version. As of now, the CERO rating cannot be passed. We have decided that we would no longer be able to provide you with the experience you need. We hope everyone in Japan will understand. If you have already pre-ordered, we will refund you, end quote.
This sucks to hear for the people in Japan who can't play this, who won't be able to play this game or anything like that. I'm sorry to hear that and whatnot. But I have to question Japan a little bit to a certain point, because I'm just like, you guys have animes that are very, very explicit content in it. And how explicit is it in this game? How bloody and violent and everything is Callisto Protocols? I'm very intrigued that it has not been able to pass Japan. There's no doubt about Japan is also it's their own thing. It's in the day. If you can't hit their rules, then
games in Japan. I was reading a little bit about all of this to see like what the crack was. Like games in Japan, a lot of games in Japan from the West do tend to get censored. Like they have like much more stricter stuff about violence in video games.
Which is really weird.
Yeah.
It's really weird. I'm sorry.
No, it is. It's just one of those things you just get used to, right? Like puritanical nonsense. Like the Nintendo thing where it's like we can't have boobs in games anymore, like from a few weeks ago. But with the Callisto Protocol, like the fact that it's just like, yeah, we're not going to bother, so it's not coming out in Japan, and I'm just like, I'm worried about what's the word I'm looking for, like like subtlety, like is a thing, and I'm just wondering, like for me personally, now thinking about the Callisto Protocol, where it's just like, is this just going to be like an over the top gore fest? Because I don't know how long I can play that game. Yeah, that theoretical game. Like if I pick it up and it's just like, it's just fucking blood and guts flying everywhere, and I'm just like, oh okay, like
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like how crazy is this game for Japan to say no? When it comes to Japan, like I said, Japan, you let a lot go. You do let a lot go in other things. Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. It's like I don't really know what my threshold when it comes to gore and everything like that. Sometimes I'm just like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Sure.
And then some of them I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, right.
It's just really weird.
Well, it's like the eye scene in Dead Space 2.
Jeez, yeah, I hate that scene. That's terrible.
Was effective because it happens once and then nothing that bad happens again for a while, right?
Yeah,
it's it spaces it out, and it's just like, is it like, it just, I don't know, like it's a theoretical thing. I'm still going to play the game when it comes out and see what it's like. But now in the back of my head, I'm just like, is this going to be too much? Like, is this going to be too over the top for me?
Yeah, it's kind of like Alien Isolation. Alien Isolation, you are dreading when to see that alien. Mm-hmm. And then when it fucking finally shows up, you're just like, I'm not moving. I'm staying under this table. I'm never moving ever again. And you have to continue the game and everything. And you're just like, how long can I actually last? And it's so terrifying and so suspenseful. That's Create Assembly, please. I want a sequel, please. Please give me a sequel. Just cut it down from 18 to 20 hours to like a perfect 10 hours what it should have been. But it's kind of like that. It's because I've stated on many occasions, everyone knows, I love the Alien franchise. Alien 1 and Aliens are my favorite films of all time. I never finished Alien Isolation because I couldn't. I was just like, I am shitting myself here, and I don't know how much I can continue with this. This is like my worst nightmare in form. I
think it was the last level or the last two levels. They really carried me through the fear by outweighing the fear with frustration. Like, I remember by the time I got to the end of the game, I was the game was just infuriating me more than it was making me scared.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah.
That's fair. So, but there's like there's a point where it's just like, that was the perfect moment to basically finish. And then I say, why are you continuing?
But then it's like, there's like you're playing 3 more levels, and it's like, with like, the thing that happens, and then it's just like, what the fuck am I still doing here? Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It
is really ridiculous.
And then there's one amazing level, which is probably the scariest level in the game. And then it's all very quickly downhill after
that. Yeah. Which is disappointing. But
it is,
please.
Creative Assembly.
Give us a sequel. Speaking of Creative Assembly.
I was going to say, we got time for one more, so.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah, go for Creative Assembly. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, hell, man. I must have a tweet or something that's popping off because my fucking wrist has been vibrating nonstop for the last 10 minutes. Creative Assembly vows investigation after deeply concerning and serious allegations of workplace abuse. This is from Joshua Warnes over at PC Gamer. He writes, Creative Assembly maker... Wow, I just skipped that comment completely. Creative Assembly, maker of the Total War series and upcoming shooter Hyenas, has responded to allegations of abuse and sexual misconduct against one of its former employees. The company says it will investigate the matter and is calling for former employees to reach out if they have testimonies that could aid the investigation. In a statement posted to Twitter, Creative Assembly writes that it has, quote, been made aware of deeply concerning and serious allegations regarding a former CA employee, and that while the company is dedicated to providing a safe and inclusive environment for our people, it is clear that it needs to do better, end quote. The post concludes with a statement that the company is, quote, investigating this matter through an external party to fully understand what happened, end quote, and calls on former employees with knowledge of misconduct to reach out via the company's whistleblowing email account. Rumours surrounding potential misconduct began to swell over the past few days as developers on Twitter stepped forward to make allegations of misconduct, abuse, and cover-ups against one of the company's ex-employees. Several people who have worked at Creative Assembly, or that know someone who has, have now come forward to make allegations of bullying and harassment, and at least one claims that reports made regarding the individual in question were ignored.
Creative Assembly. I love you as a developer. You say, Alien Isolation, I adore. Could have been sure. Should have been sure. I do not like your statement of saying, basically, it sounds like you didn't know anything about this at all. And I didn't believe it with Activision. I didn't believe it with Ubisoft or any of the other fucking companies out there. So I'm not going to lie. I don't believe you that you did not know about certain elements. Or any of the elements whatsoever.
You said it's a damning indictment of the video game industry that you said Activision and Ubisoft, and then like the last 2 years of my podcasting life and all of the different companies just flashed before my eyes.
Yeah. And it's just, I do hope that you do properly investigate this and you sort out the rot, if you do have a rot, and you sort it out fast. That's I hope and everything. But you should have. If the worst thing is, if you didn't know, how bad are you? How are your higher up bosses? How bad are you guys? How badly organized is this company? If you didn't fucking know about any of this, that is worrisome in itself. It's like the Ubisoft head all over again. What didn't you know? You either knew or you didn't know, and that just is even worse. That's my thoughts on it. What are your thoughts?
I don't know, man. Like, I know we should always keep talking about this stuff when it comes up, but like, it's been 3 years and I'm running out of ways to say the same thing over and over again, where it's like,
fair.
There's a trajectory that we're about to go on as far as Creative Assembly is concerned. There's like, it's going to go in one of two directions. Like, we know this. This is because like history is repeating itself. Yeah. I feel like I am currently stuck in a time loop. Like, but the the name of the company changes every 2 weeks or whatever it is. And like, so there's a fork in the road right now, and one of two things is going to happen. And like, from my point of view, the end of the story does seem to indicate that perhaps Creative Assembly did receive reports, whether that might have just been at the HR department or wherever it was, and then those reports were ignored. That's what the story seems to indicate from the people who have come forward to talk about this. Very brave people, because it's not an easy thing to come forward and talk about this kind of thing. From my perspective, right now, it's Creative Assembly needs to react in the correct way to this. They need to do better. They need to not pull a Ubisoft. That's what we're going to call. That's what we're going to call it from now on. And we just kind of have to like sort of wait and see what they do next, right? Like, what is the next thing that we'll probably hear about Creative Assembly is, hey, here's a bunch of people who talked anonymously to the one and only one video game journalist that actually exists. and then we'll get that story, and then we'll see what they do next, and then it's what they do next that will determine whether they get the whether they get me like moving the microphone just a little bit further away from my mouth so I can talk much louder or not. We'll see.
Yeah, that's fair.
But no, like, obviously it's awful to hear. It's awful to hear the dozens of times that we've heard it before. And I don't want to say that trying to like mitigate or like downplay like the creative assembly stuff, because there is that worry, right, where it's just like we hear about this so much that like I don't ever want this to be like normalized, right, where it's just like, hey, which company is sexually harassing its employees this week, you know, like I was gonna go, it's such and such, but that wouldn't be fair, like to do that. So I'm not gonna make that joke. But like I don't ever want to get to the point where I'm just like, oh man, I don't want to talk about this because we've talked about it a million times before. Like it deserves to. Every story, every time someone has the courage and the bravery to come forward and speak their truth on issues like this, like, and every single one deserves to be heard and deserves to be spread, repeated, just talked about, and hopefully
acknowledged.
Thank you. And hopefully we can, like, you know, affect some positive change.
That's the hope. Yeah,
so that the next group of developers working at Creative Assembly doesn't have to go through this.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe I'll be screaming about Creative Assembly in a couple of weeks.
Maybe.
Games
out this week, Jamie.
Games out this week. There's one day, more or less. Thursday, November 3rd, we got Ghost Song coming to PlayStation platforms, Xbox platforms, Switch and PC, and is also launching on Game Pass. How to Say Goodbye is launching on Switch and PC. The Entropy Center is launching on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. The Chant is launching on PlayStation 5, Xbox, Series X and S, and PC. Honey, I Joined a Cult is launching out of early access on PC, and Outshine is launching on PC. And then lastly, on November 4th, Harvestella is launching on Switch.
Sweetness.
It's a good week for indie games that Amy's excited about.
Quiet week.
And nobody else is.
It's
a quiet week. And, well,
it's actually, if you think about it, it's the perfect week to get a game out because of what comes out the week after.
Oh, definitely. Like, I would like to try and get through one of these games because I want to play it. There's a few I want to play, right? And I'd like to try and get through one of them before the Wednesday, you know, after.
That's fair.
Because, you know, then my time is going to be used and so is yours.
I'd imagine. When it's apparently 50 fucking hours long.
I know, right? Like, why does everything have to be longer? Like, why does
everything have to be being long? I'm just going to be playing the story. I'm not going for full completion.
Why does everything have to get longer? Plague Tale did this. It's like Requiem was longer than Innocence, and it's just like, why, man?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. I haven't touched Plague Tales yet.
Well, someone really cool and smart and sexy did an awesome review of it last week on a podcast you should check out. youtube.com/wordsaboutsgamesuk.
I heard. He is incredibly sexy.
He is incredibly sexy. 300,000 rats, Moody.
Those glasses, man. It's
that new angle, you know, that he had.
I know. It's like, I bet he's like this.
Yeah, throwing his hair back, like. Got a fan. No, he's got like a fan just off camera, just like.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely made that weird if Fitz is listening to this. The Entropy Center looks really cool. Which I'm looking forward to playing because I feel like that has the potential to like blow up in terms of popularity because of how good the demo was and how good the concept is. It's basically Portal, but instead of portals, it's time travel. I played the demo of it at Steam Next Fest. It's very, very interesting. And if they like push the concept as far as they can, you got a banger of a game on your hands. And How to Say Goodbye looks cool too. I played a demo of that at Gamescom. So, two cool games. But maybe.
I gotta play some games, I won't lie. There's games I need to play because in 2 weeks' time, I'm fucking stuck on 2 games, which will have my life.
Oh yeah, like I'm like God of War. Like there's gonna be at least one podcast where it's like, what have you been playing?
God of War.
We'll talk about it next week because I'm gonna try and get a special guest on to talk about God of War when we're ready to talk about God of War. When you and I are ready to talk about God of War. Might bring in a ringer.
A ringer.
I know a lot of ringers, Moody. I had to replace you a lot this morning. This is on a lot of podcasts this year. No. I'm saying that's a good thing because now I've got this big pool of people who I know will come on the podcast.
And if any of them are listening, it's like, fuck you, I ain't doing that.
I ain't doing that. I want to be on a podcast with Moody.
Let's do this, Amy.
OpenCritic
head-to-head.
This is the game we play every single week where we try to guess the OpenCritic average of some upcoming games. Whoever guesses closest to the score gets a point. If you manage to guess the score correctly, you get 2 points. If you're like me and you try to be too clever, you might guess higher than the score that the game got on OpenCritic, even though you were going to guess the score that the game got on OpenCritic, but then you decided to get in your own head and play tactically and guess too high and get 1 point instead of 2 points anyway. Last week we tried to guess the OpenCritic average of Bayonetta 3.
The most annoying thing is, I hummed and hawed, I was thinking, do I just go 88 actually? Do I just go 88?
Amy guessed that we get a 90, Moody guessed that we get a 93, Vitz guessed that we get an 82, and at the time of recording, Bayonetta 3 has an OpenCritic average of 88. I was going to go 88. When I saw you on 93, I was like, I'm going to go 88. But then I was like, that leaves a lot of points.
Yeah.
Potentially. And if it gets too close to Moody gets the point. So I go higher to cover you off more.
Yeah.
Whereas if I just stuck to fucking 88...
Yeah.
I'd have 2 points right now, and the comeback would be even more on than it is.
I won't lie, when I watched last week's episode, I was thinking, wow, Vitz, you are lowballing this.
I was so happy because I was like, I'm going to obviously give Vitz the guess before me. And I was like, fuck, man, if he goes like anywhere near like 88, 90, I'm fucked. Like, like I am so fucking screwed. Like, I would basically have to guess the score to get any points.
Yeah.
And then he went 82, and I was like, I love you, Vitz. I love, like, you're such a great guy. But when you did that, I was like, thank fucking God.
That's fair.
Like,
that is fair. That was
thank you,
fair.
God. So that leaves the scores at Amy 21, Moody 26, Guest 3. I think there are 7 games left. I counted it last night because I was going to do the bit where I was going to be like, there's this many games left and I'm this far behind. But then I did it and I forgot. But I think I'm 5 points behind and there's 7 games left. That we're going to do as time goes on. But anyway, all you can do when you're trying to mount a comeback from being at 1 point 10 points behind. So I've cleaved it in half. You know, like I've cut the deficit in half so far.
7-ish. It really just depends on what's coming out, really, because there's not a lot on certain elements.
Yeah, I think like every week's got something apart from 1 week where we're not going to be doing one. But I think there's I don't know.
The final 2 weeks before we go off for Christmas, there's barely anything there.
Yeah. Oh, there's a stopping point, which is probably going to be before. Like we finish podcasting for the year.
So theoretically, if it's before we finish podcasting, it could be just 5 weeks, really, because I would say the best one.
Well, I worked it out. And I can't remember how I worked it out. And
no, I trust your judgment. Well, do I?
It might be 6. It might be 7. It's 6 or 7, right? But anyway, I know there's at least one week where we're doing 2 because Pokemon and Pentiment come out. But this week. Now, God of War's not coming out this week, but we know that the reviews are coming out for God of War this week. So this week...
Drops Friday or Thursday.
I'm more nervous about God of War than most of the other games. Because I feel like with most of the games, there's a big range, right? There's a bigger range of scores you could possibly get for a lot of the games that we talk about. But I feel like with God of War Ragnarok, I feel like the potential range of scores that game could get is so small. It's scary. Moody, what do you think God of War Ragnarok is going to have on OpenCritic?
93.
That wasn't what you put in the document, you motherfucker.
I'm going for it. I'm going for the score I picked for Bayonetta last week.
Sure.
Obviously, I know a little aimed high for that, but I think the critics are going to adore this game.
They certainly adored the last one.
Yeah. When it comes to Sony exclusives, they're always, for the most part, very highly rated. The only one off the top of my head that comes to mind where was Boris Baby divisive was Days Gone. Like Ghost of Tsushima, highly praised. God of War, highly praised. Last of Us Part 2, critics wise, highly praised.
Last of Us Part 1,
highly praised. Even though a lot, I understand the sentiment when people come for that game and everything. Yeah,
I was ready to fist fight the reviewer at Metro Game Central over The Last of Us Part 1, and I don't even have a horse in that race. I wasn't going to play it. I wasn't bothered about the remake, but that review was so bad. I was like, I will fight
you. Yeah, it was a stupid review, but I was 92. I'm now upping it to 93.
So Days Gone,
yeah,
because I was curious when he said it. Days Gone, it got a 72. I was like, oof. That's pretty low.
Still respectable.
I mean, it's respectable, but even I thought it was higher than that.
Yeah, but for a Sony exclusive, you think at least in the 80s, don't you?
Hey, I remember playing it. Wasn't amazing, but hey ho. Anyway,
the original God of War, not original, the God of War 2018.
2018.
Got a 94.
I know.
And that's what you're going for. I knew that's what you were going to go for. I was thinking she's got a 94.
Look, right, would it be smarter to go low? Yes, it would be smarter to put 92 in. There are many more numbers below 93 than there are above 93.
Yeah.
However, do I think it's going to go 92 or below? You know what? There's a good chance. There's a good chance that, like I've said, barring 2-pointers and whatnot, I've got 2 mistakes I can make.
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel like I might be spending one of them here. But that's just, you know what? That's just the kind of game that this is.
You got to do what you got to do.
I got to do what I got to do. I believe that this is going to be one of the highest rated games of the year.
I agree. I do agree with that. So, there's one more thing I want to bring up here. I want to talk about Fantasy Critic.
Why would you want to talk about Fantasy Critic? It's not like anyone chatted shit about you.
I will state this right now to everybody. Amy, you have won this year. There's no doubt.
I think I've got it.
You've won this years. You won this months ago. There's no doubt about that and whatnot.
Oh, I know where this is going.
But
I was in the Discord.
I don't care. I do not care about first place. So. You want to come for me, Elf? You want to try and be a smart ass? You've got one game. That is it. Coming out. Because none of the others are going to get you anything of real significance when it comes to point-wise. You've only got one game, and that's God of War Ragnarok. Won't lie. We'll probably get in the least 90s for you, which will get you a high point difference. There's no doubt about it. You're fucking 15. You are plus 15 points behind me. That's all. You're not going to get that high ahead of me. I've still got Somerville, I've still got Callisto Protocol, and I've still got Pentiment, which all 3 of those combined, I'm saying right now, will get higher than fucking God of War. So I'm beating you for second place. Like it or not, you screwed up by fucking counterpicking Cult of Lamb, because if you didn't do that, you'd be 15 points ahead of me, and you win this with Ragnarok. Bring it, Elf. Bring it. I saw the discourse in Discord. I just didn't want to say a single thing because I thought, I'll say it on this. Amy won this year. Fair play to her. Respect. She kicked ass. Elf, you fucking just hand on there. Indie girl.
Wow. I think you touched a nerve there, Elf. To be fair.
Queen of the Indies.
I mean, she touched
Queen
a nerve.
of the Indies,
she touched a nerve with that name with me in January.
For you.
And I'm getting that crown back, thank you.
Yeah.
What I found funny about the message in Discord was she sent it when she went ahead of you. Because we talked, me and Vitz were talking about it last week. It was like, oh yeah, she had Plague Tale, she had Mario and Rabbids.
Yeah.
She sent the message in Discord. Was it the day before? What came out? Some Signalis. Was it the day before Signalis came out and put you back in second place?
Came out and Bayonetta came out for me.
Yeah, so by the time I went in Discord and she was like, check Fantasy Critic. By the time I actually went to check Fantasy Critic,
I was back second.
You were in second place.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh yeah, because like you had Bayonetta and you had Signalis, and I was like, okay. And you didn't say anything, and I found that suspicious because usually you bite. So when you said, "Oh, we're doing a fantasy critic thing," I was like, "Oh, I know what this is." He's biting. She's got him. She's got him.
I'm fucking biting, all right. Little Devil's Inside, not coming out this year. Hellblade 2, not coming out this year. All you've got is Midnight Sun and God of Ragnarok, and I do not think Midnight Sun is going to do anything of decent for you. Farewell, just so you know, you've got 2 more spaces, mate.
Yeah, you might want to fill those up. Actually, we
want to fill those fuckers up. Yeah.
We were playing Monster Prom, which I'll be talking about in next week's podcast. And you did actually say, like, I need to fill my 2 spaces, and I was like, you really do. You're running out of runway.
Yeah, there's not many left. Not much left.
I've got a space. Nobody knows about.
You don't really need it.
I don't really need it, but I'm gonna use it.
Yeah. So what? You're gonna get rid of thirsty suitors?
Yeah. I'm just gonna hold on to Hollow Knight because
drops.
At this point, I've had it in my team for 3 years.
Yeah.
If anyone takes the Hollow Knight next year, because obviously I'll be picking last.
Yes. Yeah.
If anybody takes Hollow Knight ahead of me,
to you about something.
I'm gonna appear behind them during the podcast recording, and I'm gonna fucking kick them in the head. 3 years I've had that game.
I've got an idea that I want to throw past you.
Okay, well we'll do that.
For Fantasy Critic. After recording.
That's gonna do it for episode whatever I said this episode was. I've got OpenCritic open at the moment. For the Words About Games podcast, Moody, it's been a pleasure to have you back.
It's been a pleasure being back on the Words About Games podcast with you, Amy, because I love being here.
That's nice. I love being here too. I like our new format. It's really easy to make the show notes now because I don't have to worry about what order to put anything in.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah,
I just drop it in and it's like, yeah, Moody can worry about that. Hey, whatever. But that's going to do it. Yeah. Do you have anything, final words of thoughts or wisdom?
We're on the final stretch of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Christmas is coming up. Halloween's coming up, and then Christmas is coming up.
Halloween is today.
Have an awesome Halloween. Be amazing. Don't be too spooky because some people may not like the spookiness. But let's keep on pushing hard. We're doing well. Let's get to the end of the year.
If you have
awesome and have an awesome week.
If you have an overflow of spookiness happening, I like the spookiness. So just send me the overflow of spookiness. That's going to do it. Say bye, Moody.
Say bye, Amy.
Bye, Amy.